Does the prosecution want to call their next witness, please?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Hunter Todd.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or do you so affirm?
Yeah.
Thank you.
This one, sir. Please read it.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you state your name, spell your last name, please?
Hunter Todd, T-O-D-D.
Thank you. And Hunter, how old are you?
19.
And are you going to school?
Yeah, I go to Northern Arizona University.
What year are you?
I'm a sophomore.
And what are you studying?
Criminal justice.
Excellent. For you. Are you a member of a fraternity as well?
Yes, I'm in Sigma Chi.
And you work right now?
Yes, I work at a bar called Southside Tavern.
Okay. Hunter, do you know a person named Stephen Jones?
Yes.
Do you see him in the court today?
Yes.
Can you point where he's seated and what he's wearing for the record?
Blue collared shirt.
Where is he seated?
Defense table.
Okay. Let the record reflect witness identified the defendant.
Granted.
When did you, well, let me ask you this. How do you know Stephen Jones?
We pledged together the same fraternity.
Sigma Chi?
Yes.
And when was that?
Fall of last year, I think 2015.
All right. So right as school begins that fall.
Yeah.
And so you were a freshman then,
Yes.
as well as Stephen?
Yes.
And did you guys hang out afterwards? After you first met, did you hang out together?
Not too much, no.
How many times would you estimate?
Maybe around 5 times. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, that's all right. Hunter, do you recall an evening when you and the defendant and a couple other friends of yours went to a party at the Grove?
Yes.
That stand out in your mind that night?
Yes.
Let me ask you about that, okay?
Okay.
Does it sound like that night was on October 8th, late to October 9th, early morning hours, 2015?
Sounds about right.
All right, you don't have any reason to dispute that?
No.
Okay. So that night, who was with you?
Shay, Jacob, Stephen, and myself.
Shay, what's his last name?
McConnell.
And Jacob, what?
Jacob Mike.
Were all of you freshmen?
Yes.
All of you a part of the same pledge class?
Yes.
So what was the plan that night?
We just finished studying our pledge test, and we planned on going to the Grove. And then from the Grove, we heard of a courtyard party and then headed that way.
All right, so let's take that step by step, okay?
All right.
So the Grove, well, first of all, how did you get to the Grove?
I don't recall.
No?
I don't remember.
Just showed up there?
We may have been dropped off. We may have walked. I don't recall on memory.
You don't recall who drove you there?
It may have been Steven's car. I'm not 100% sure.
All right. Do you recall what Stephen's car, the defendant's car, looked like?
It's a Mustang.
Red color?
Yeah.
All right. So you got to the Grove somehow. And yes, is that a yes?
Yes, we got to the Grove somehow.
All right. Sorry, you have to say yes or no for the record, just so we can...
Okay.
Steve here has to type that out, okay?
Okay.
So when you got to the Grove, what did you know about what was going on that night?
We didn't hear of anything. We were just going to be drinking in the Grove. And then I forget who told us the information that there was a party at the courtyard. And then from there, we changed our plans and started to head to the Grove.
All right. And the Grove...
Or the courtyard.
The courtyard. Okay. And the Grove, just for the jury's benefit, describe where that is.
It's, I think, down Franklin. It's a big old complex for apartments.
All right. And Was this a fraternity party, or was it just some party from friends?
I think it was just, we were just getting together to drink, and it's just some friends.
Okay. How long do you think you were at that party at the Grove?
Maybe up to 30 minutes.
So not long.
Not long.
Do you remember when you got there?
No, I do not.
Was it late?
Yes.
I mean, and when I say late, late at night, I guess?
Yes, it was late at night.
Do you recall if it was a school night?
Yes, it was a Thursday night.
All right. Did you have classes the next day?
No.
So you mentioned drinking. Did you have any drinks that night?
Yes.
How many?
Around 3 to 5 drinks.
These beers? shots?
Beers. Yes.
Okay. And do you recall if Shane McConnell had any drinks?
I can't recall.
Okay, that's fine. What about Jacob Mike?
Jacob Mike, yes.
Did you count his drinks, or did you just see him drinking at some point?
I just saw drinking.
What about the defendant?
I did not see him drink.
Okay. So about 30 minutes there, you had some drinks, and then did you leave the party with the people you came with?
Yes, I left with Shay McConnell, Jacob Mike, and Stephen Jones.
And were you in a car, or were you walking?
We walked all the way from the Grove to Courtyard.
All right. So, and you mentioned earlier you were going to the Courtyard because you heard there was perhaps another party there.
Yes.
Describe where the Courtyard is in relation to the Grove.
Courtyard is right next to the parking lot at the View, across the street.
So just off Franklin
Yes.
Avenue, does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay. So to get from the Grove down to the Courtyard, is it just going down a street?
It's just walking down Franklin, yes.
Were you walking together, and when I say together, side by side with the defendant, Shay McConnell and Jacob Mike?
Yes.
At some point, did you separate from them?
Yes.
Describe that.
At the top of Franklin, the hill going down to Courtyard and the parking lot at the View, I separated from the group.
And why did you do that?
I separated because I saw a girl ahead of me, so I left and went to go talk to her and let the guys know, I'll see you guys in a couple minutes, I don't know.
Okay. Did you tell them exactly where you were going?
We all had the plan of going to Courtyard, so yes, they knew.
They knew you were headed that way.
Yes.
And you said you saw a girl. Do you recall her name?
I know her first name, Allie. That was
Okay.
it.
And did you go with her into the Courtyard area?
Yes.
So describe where you went into the Courtyard. What do you mean by that?
We went into an apartment complex in the Courtyard, and that's it.
Okay. When you say Courtyard, this is an actual courtyard, so there's a space in between buildings.
Yes.
So that's where you went into that area?
Yes.
Did you go into any of the units?
Yes, I went into one of the units.
Do you recall which one?
I don't remember the number.
Was there actually a party there when you arrived?
Yes.
Do you know who lived in the Courtyard area?
Some Sigma Chi actives at the time.
Okay, people of your fraternity?
Yes.
Were you aware that Delta Chi fraternity members lived there as well?
Next door, yes.
All right, so this was at a different party from a Delta Chi party.
Yes. 2 separate parties.
Okay. Were you aware that there were 2 separate parties at the time?
Yes.
All right, so when you got to this party, the Sigma Chi location of this unit you went into, were the drinks there?
Yes.
Did you have more drinks?
I do not recall.
All right. Did the defendant, Shane McConnell, or Jacob Mike ever meet up with you at that location?
No.
Do you know where they went?
No.
Did they try to contact you on your phone?
Yes.
When did you find out that they were trying to contact you?
After the shooting.
Okay. You mentioned the shooting. At any point while you were at the Sigma Chi party, did you hear anything about a shooting?
No. I didn't hear the shooting itself, but people did run in saying that there were gunshots.
All right. Did you hear any gunshots while you were there?
No.
Do you recall when that discussion happened, when people started talking about it?
About 20 minutes into when I arrived.
All right. So not long after you left, the defendant, Shane McConnell, and Jacob Mike.
Yes.
Thank you. Did you, so after you heard that there were gunshots, did you go out and investigate?
No.
You just stayed inside?
We went upstairs and we watched all the police officers starting to like swarm the scene and tape up the scene.
All right, so from that location, could you actually see down into the Mountain View area?
Yes, but I didn't see anything. We were just watching all the lights and all the cops just setting up the tape and stuff.
Okay. So just describe this unit. Was it facing Franklin Avenue or was it facing inward?
It's facing towards the parking lot and Mountain View and
Okay.
Franklin Avenue, yes.
So if I understand correctly, from the upstairs, you could actually see into that parking lot?
Yes, you could.
But as you described, by the time you got up there, could you see what had happened, or did you see anything
I
about
did
what
not
happened?
see anything that happened.
Did you eventually find out that your friends were trying to contact you?
Yes.
And when did you discover that?
I went to check my phone after went upstairs and saw that I had about 7 to 8 missed calls.
From whom?
Shay McConnell.
Okay. Did you ever leave that party at Sigma Chi that night, or did you stay there the whole night?
Yes, I did leave.
And where did you go?
Went up the alley from Franklin to a car, and then we went around and they dropped us off at Mountain View.
Okay. So you were describing how there were police out there setting up tape and police tape. How did you get over to Mountain View?
We went down the back alley of the courtyard, and from there was a car picking up people, and we went around and they drove us through NAU and up the Mountain View Drive to the circle of Mountain View.
All right, so kind of the back way. So that would have been the south of Mountain View? South side?
Yeah.
Ish?
Or the front entrance of Mountain View.
Okay. So the part that you were seeing, this parking lot in front of Mountain View, was that where you were dropped off, or was it a different
It
location?
was a different location.
All right, thank you. And what did you do while you were at Mountain View Hall?
From there, I don't recall anything.
Did you see anything else about what was going on in the parking lot?
No.
Did you even have a view into that parking lot at that point?
No.
Were you later contacted by the police?
Yes.
When was that?
In the morning.
So that would have been the same day then?
Approximately, yes.
Okay, and what I mean by that is if we're saying that the shooting occurred early morning hours of October 9th, it would have been that same day but later?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever call any of your friends that night to see what was going on?
Yes, I called Shay.
And what was his demeanor like?
He was scared.
Did he tell you what happened?
He didn't really tell me much. He just told me,
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
Did he identify the shooter?
yes.
Objection, calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
It's a prior identification, not hearsay.
Under what
I'm
rule?
sorry, did you
Under what rule?
overruled?
No, under what rule?
Prior identification under 801D, statement of identification. Sorry, Judge, I just couldn't hear you.
That's right. I've been wondering how you all have been doing it anyway today. I'm not finding prior identification under 801D.
I'm looking at it right now, Judge.
You're looking at
It's 801D 1C identifies a person as someone the declarant perceived earlier.
McAllen? 801.
Let me make sure I'm reading this. It's one of identification of a person made after perceiving the person, right?
Correct.
That's it. What, he's not the one perceiving.
No, Shane McConnell is. That's what I asked. I'm only asking about identity, nothing more.
Mr. McAllen?
That's fine.
Okay.
Who did Shay identify as the shooter?
Stephen Jones.
Thank you. Hunter, we're going to show you Exhibit 316, which is a scan of the location that this happened, okay? I'm going to ask you some more questions. Judge, if I could just sit at the table. Thank you. I'm going to move this so I can actually see you. All right, Hunter, can you see that okay?
Yes.
Let me pan around a little bit. This is 316 for the record. You recognize what we're looking at here?
Yes.
You recognize a car?
Yes.
Where? Do you have a laser pointer up there, I think? Whose car is that?
Stephen Jones.
The red Mustang you talked about?
Yes.
Do you recall him parking at this location? You guys walking anywhere?
I do not recall.
Okay. But that is his car, at least appears to be?
Yes.
So what parking lot is this?
The G-Fi lot or the parking lot to the view.
And what building is this that we're looking at?
The View. Mountain View.
Okay, thank you. The View for short?
Yes.
All right. Let me go up here a little bit. All right, just from this scan location, what street are we looking at here?
That'd be Franklin, right?
I'm asking you.
I think it's Franklin.
Okay. What's this building right here that we're looking at?
That is Courtyard.
So the courtyard, which looks like right across the street from Mountain View?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Okay, and is this where you went, this building?
Yes.
And let me specify, that's where you went after the Grove when you met up with that girl to go to the Sigma Chi party?
Yes.
Let me go on the other side on this scan location here. You recognize this?
Yes.
What are we looking at?
The inside of the Courtyard.
All right. Do you recall which unit you were at when you went to that party?
I do not recall which unit, but right around this area.
Okay. So you described earlier that it was one on Franklin that you could see into the parking lot?
Yes.
In the Mountain View parking lot? Okay. Get one more view here. And if you could, Hunter, what do you recall when you were looking out that upstairs window? What do you recall seeing?
I just saw police officers taping off the scene right around here.
Okay. Couldn't see anything occurring over here in this parking lot?
No.
And when you described leaving that courtyard area and going to Mountain View, which direction did you arrive at Mountain View?
We went up this hill right here, and then there's an entrance over here at the circle.
All right, let me see if we can see that. Is this it?
No, there's a road right over here.
Oh, okay. Can you see it in this view?
Not really, no.
All right, but it was on this back side, or I guess what you were...
It's the front entrance right here.
Okay, the front entrance, thank you. May I have a moment, Judge?
Sure.
Hunter, that's all I have, thank you.
Good afternoon, Hunter. Hello. Just want to clarify a couple things, and then we'll take another look at this. So you don't recall how you got to the Grove, but you were definitely at the Grove with Stephen, Shay McConnell, and Jacob Mike, right?
Correct.
And you did not see Stephen drinking anything that evening.
Correct.
And then you all started to leave the Grove, and as you're getting close to the courtyard, you saw a girl up ahead that, did you already know her?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so you ran up ahead to her. Is that a yes?
Correct.
And then the two of you went into the party?
Correct.
And after that point, you never saw Stephen again, right?
Correct.
And you never saw Shay McConnell again?
Correct.
I mean, that evening.
Correct.
And you never saw Jacob Mike again that evening?
Correct.
And you were in that unit during the entire time that everything was going on over there on Franklin Street and in Mountain View parking lot?
Yes.
You didn't hear or see anything over there?
Yes.
At some point, someone in your group learns of shooting, but you didn't hear anything.
Yes.
And when you did go upstairs and look out the window, by then police were already there putting up tape.
Yes.
Okay. If I could go back to Exhibit 316.
You bet. Which view did you want first?
Okay, do you recognize what we're looking at here on this photo?
Yes.
What is that?
Courtyard.
Okay. Can you recognize which window you were looking out of?
I do not.
Okay. Was it an upstairs window?
Yes.
Okay, so it's one of those upstairs windows, you just don't know which one?
Correct.
Okay. And from that window, you could see Franklin Street, right?
Correct.
You could see part of Mountain View, right?
Correct.
You couldn't see into the parking lot?
Correct.
No further questions, John.
Redirect.
Nothing, thank you.
I'll turn to members of our jury and see if they have any questions. Doesn't look like we do. Can this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Todd, thank you for your testimony. You're excused. There's no prior identification. Next witness, please.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Nick Acevedo.
You solemnly swear or affirm under the penalty of perjury, the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or do you so affirm?
I do.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Shea.
Thank you, Judge. Good afternoon, sir. I'm going to have to ask you to answer verbally. Can you state your name, please?
Nick Acevedo.
And can you spell your last name?
Acevedo.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Nick.
I'm a senior at NAU. My major is psychology, and I graduate next winter.
Did you grow up here in Arizona?
No.
Where'd you grow up?
Orange County.
California?
Yeah.
What year were you in October of 2015?
Excuse me?
What year, like what class were you in?
I was a junior
Okay. Where were you living?
at the courtyard.
Which unit do you recall?
Unit 5.
Who were your roommates?
Brandon Emrine and Mitchell Highland.
Who else did you know that lived at the courtyard apartments?
Across from us, it was Nick Peering, Michael Mullen, and Colin Brew.
All right. All members of the Delta Chi fraternity?
That's correct.
Were there other fraternities represented in the courtyard as well?
Yeah, we had some Sigma Chi friends across from my complex.
Okay. And they were friends?
Yeah.
In fact, Mountain View Hall housed a lot of Greek fraternities and sororities as
Yeah.
well. Nick, I'm going to ask you about the events of the very early morning hours of October 9th of 2015, okay? Do you recall those, that time frame?
Yeah.
Actually, let's start on the 8th. So do you recall what day of the week that was?
It was a Thursday.
All right. Were there any events going on, or did you guys plan anything over at the courtyards?
I had a small party that night.
Okay. Was yours the only party at the courtyard that night?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Was there drinking at the party?
Yes.
Were you drinking?
Yeah.
Are you able to estimate for the jury how much you had to drink?
Around 7 to 8 beers.
Over what period of time, do you know? When-
2 to 3 hours.
All right. When did the party begin?
Probably 10:30.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as being drunk, or how would you describe yourself?
A buzz.
All right. In the 1 o'clock time frame, what was going on with the party?
It was winding down. There's probably only 5 to 10 people in my house.
In your apartment?
Yeah.
All right. And in that time frame, were things still, what was the general mood of the party?
Everyone was in a good mood. People were just finding rides home. Basically, it was just winding down.
Okay. Did you observe any kind of goofing around, roughhousing going on?
Before we walked out and the whole scene started happening, Colin was playfully chasing Zach Volpo, and they're just kind of just roughhousing, just running around inside my house, and then they went outside.
Okay, which way did they go outside? Through the courtyard?
Yeah, through my front door.
All right. So, fair to say the courtyard is kind of 2 parallel buildings with a courtyard in between?
Yeah.
And yours was it adjacent to Franklin or not?
No.
Okay.
It was the farther one.
Is the one that was further away from Franklin?
Yeah.
Okay. So those guys were kind of goofing around inside and then they ran outside?
Correct.
But that was into the courtyard?
Yeah, into the middle of the courtyard.
Did you follow or did you remain?
Yeah.
All right, you went outside as well?
I went outside.
And what did you see when you got out there?
So I saw
Were things still, what was the general mood of the party?
everyone was in a good mood. People were just finding rides home. Basically, it was just winding down.
Okay. Did you observe any kind of goofing around, roughhousing going on?
Before we walked out and the whole scene started happening, Colin was playfully chasing Zach Volpo, and they're just kind of just roughhousing, just running around inside my house, and then they went outside.
Okay, which way did they go outside? Through the courtyard?
Yeah, through my front door.
All right. So fair to say the courtyard is kind of two parallel buildings with a courtyard in between?
Yeah.
And yours was it adjacent to Franklin or not?
No.
Okay.
It was the farther one.
Is it one that was further away from Franklin?
Yeah.
Okay. So those guys were kind of goofing around inside and then they ran outside?
Correct.
But that was into the courtyard?
Yeah, into the middle of the courtyard.
Did you follow or did you remain?
Yeah.
All right, you went outside as well?
I went outside.
And what did you see when you got out there?
So I saw Zach Volpo, Michael Mullen, Nick Peering, and that's all I know.
That's all you,
Yeah.
that's everybody or?
That's who I can remember.
Okay. Were there other people out there you think that you just don't recall?
Well, besides the other party of guys. Yeah.
All right. So how many all told?
Total?
Total.
Probably around 8 people.
Okay. And that was just verbal?
Yeah, verbal.
What, did it seem like everybody, all 8 of those were involved in the confrontation, or did it seem that others were not?
Yeah. Yeah, everyone was going back and forth.
Just kind of insults?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you understand why they were trying to get people to leave?
From what I was told that night is that
Sustained.
from what I was
No.
okay.
Okay. So how long did that verbal interaction in the courtyard go on?
1 to 2 minutes.
All right, what happened next?
We were trying to get them out of the courtyard, and we ended up walking towards Franklin into the street and then eventually to Mountain View.
Okay. So were you amongst the folks hurling insults, or what were you doing?
I was sitting back watching.
Okay, was anybody else sitting back watching?
Zach Volpo.
Okay. How far back?
Probably about 10 to 20 feet back from the guys.
All right. Now, there's 2 ways you can get out to Franklin from that courtyard area, right?
Yeah.
And which way did you guys go?
We went through the parking lot.
So, describe for me how that progress took place. Were people walking backwards, forwards, running? What did you see?
It was walking. It wasn't a fast pace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Walking backwards or just walking forwards?
Backwards.
Okay, so some of the people were walking backwards, some forwards?
Yeah.
Okay. And even as you approached Franklin Street, was it physical or verbal?
Verbal.
So after you exited the courtyard area through the parking lot, where did this interaction go to from there?
Onto the driveway of Mountain View.
Okay, straight across the street?
Yes.
Did anything of particular note happen in between the courtyard and the driveway of Mountain View?
Not that I remember.
Still the same number of guys?
Correct.
So you described 8 before. Did that include yourself and Mr. Volpo?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, so it was 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them, and
Yeah.
4 or 5 of your guys?
From what I remember, it was Nick King, Michael Mullen, Kyle Zintek, and Nick Prado. And actually, you can call him Brew as well. So I mean, probably around 9 guys, and then 4 of their guys.
Okay. As you crossed Franklin Ave and entered into the Mountain View parking lot, did you see any actual touching, any physical confrontation?
Just kind of light pushing, shoulder tapping.
You mean
Basically.
like,
Yeah.
just like,
Nothing to, no punches thrown yet. Yeah.
okay. So you said no punches thrown yet. Does that suggest that you did see punches thrown?
Yes.
Can you describe that, please?
As both parties walked up the driveway of Mountain View, I saw, from what I remember, Nick Prado running up and punching one of the guys in the face.
Okay.
But that was the only punch thrown.
Okay. Did that happen in that immediate time frame?
Yeah.
Okay. Did that person go down?
No.
And that was not on Franklin Ave? That was up the sidewalk?
That was at Mountain View.
Okay. How far up that sidewalk?
Just right around where the rocks end in the parking lot.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll look at the photos and
Yeah, that'd be a big
talk
help.
about that. So after that, what happened? Was that, I'm sorry, I should back up just a little bit. Was that like the next thing that happened? So you migrated out of the courtyard across the street onto that driveway, and that's the next thing that you recall?
Yes.
Okay. What happened after that?
It was basically just the two parties squaring up, and there was no like actual fight or a brawl, and I remember after that it was probably about 30 seconds of that, 30 seconds to a minute, and I remember Stephen walking out from the dark, the parking lot to the right.
Stephen who?
Stephen Jones, the shooter.
Did you know him at the time?
No.
So, following that punch, did you see anybody leave the confrontation?
I can't remember.
I'm sorry?
I can't remember.
Okay. But it looked like the same kind of the same guys having a continued argument even after the punch?
Yes.
And was it moving or was it stationary?
It was stationary, but I can't really recall that.
All right. Where were you?
I was with Zach Volpo near the gate of Mountain View, and we were just kind of watching.
Near the gate?
Yeah.
So how far away would you say that the continued argument was from you right at the moment that you saw somebody walking out of the parking lot?
20 to 30 feet.
And again, you said you didn't know Stephen Jones before this,
I did not.
so you've just learned his identity since then?
That's true.
How far through the parking lot did you see him travel?
I didn't see him walk to his car. I only saw him approach the scene with the guys.
Okay, how was he moving?
Slowly, and he turned on the mag light on his pistol and pointed it at Colin and Nick and screamed, police, like hands up or freeze, something along the lines of that.
Okay. Was the light on as you were watching him travel that whole distance, or?
No, he turned it on right as he approached the guys.
And so you saw him walking prior to him turning on the light?
Basically, yes.
Was there anybody else that you saw in the parking lot?
No.
Did you see anybody else come towards you or towards the other guys from the parking lot prior to Stephen coming out of the parking lot?
No, it was only Stephen Jones walking up.
When he turned on the light, how was he holding the gun, do you recall?
He was in a shooting stance, and yeah.
So he was in a stance, so
He was in,
stopped
yeah, he was in a stance, ready to shoot.
when that's when the light went on?
Yes.
Do you recall, would you be able to demonstrate for the jury the physical stance that you saw?
Yeah. Do you want me to stand up or?
Please stand
Okay.
up.
So it's basically.
Okay, he wasn't looking at me though, right? So he wasn't looking to the left. Was he looking forward?
He was looking forward at Nick and Colin.
All right. All right, so I'm just going to ask you to repeat that last part. I had a little difficulty hearing that.
Okay.
So, which way was he looking?
He was looking at Colin and Nick.
So, he turned on the light, he was in a shooting stance, he yelled something. What happened next?
Colin put his hands up. Nobody really could comprehend what was going on. We thought it was a security guard or like NAU PD. And Colin put his hands up in like a questioning manner. And I think he said, I forgot what he said, but he took a step forward and then Stephen shot him twice. And then Nick Peering screamed and he took a he was shocked and he screamed, and Stephen shot him, and then Michael Mullen came running up to me and Zach Volpo screaming, "Call 911." And still people nobody could comprehend what was going on. I thought originally that he was shooting blanks. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Prior to or other than seeing that gun, did you see anybody with any weapons?
No.
Other than that punch, did you see any other physical confrontation?
No.
During your time observing that argument, did you hear anybody use the word kill or say, "I'm going to kill you"?
No.
How far away was Mr. Jones from Colin when he shot him?
5 feet, 10 feet.
What happened when he shot him?
Colin went down, and then Nick reacted to it, and he got shot as well. Michael Mullen ran up to me, and I ran up to the scene to grab Colin, and Steven pointed the gun at me, and I called him a freak. I called him a psychopath. And at that time, he started crying after that. And I picked up Colin and propped him on my leg and secured his wound.
Where was Mr. Peering at that time?
He was, I believe, to my right, and Nick Plecky was attending to him.
Okay. Okay. And where approximately was that in the parking lot?
Right near the rocks, towards the end of the parking lot.
So you went to Colin's aid even though the gun was pointed at you?
Yes.
Well, were you afraid?
I don't know.
Did you think you were going to get shot?
When he pointed the gun at me, yes.
When you said you took care of Colin, what did you mean?
I tried to keep him conscious. I was talking to him, but his eyes were closed, and I was making sure his wound was secured.
Okay. Did you, besides what you've already said, did you say anything else to the shooter?
Yeah, I asked him why he did it.
And what did he say?
He said, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know.
Had you seen that person during the original argument or in the courtyard? Did you see him before that moment?
Most likely. I can't really remember.
In addition to Nick Pletke, was there anybody else attending to Nick Peering?
Yes, a girl, but I can't remember her name.
Okay. If I said Mikey Schollard, would you agree with that?
Yes.
So you mentioned that Nick Pletke was out there. So he was attending to Colin. That's the first you mentioned of him. Did you see him out there prior to that?
No, I can't remember.
Was there anybody else attending to Colin along with you?
Nick Prado and Abby Norcutt.
And you're familiar with those individuals?
Yes.
Also friends of yours?
Yes.
After that first set of shots, did you see anything else that happened relative to the shooter?
I had tunnel vision, no.
Tunnel vision, is that what you said?
Yeah, I was focused on Colin.
So you didn't hear any other shots?
I didn't hear the second round of shots.
Did you hear any yelling?
Yes, but I couldn't tell you any of the words I heard.
Did you see any other punching or kicking going on?
No.
You had tunnel vision, why?
Because I was focused on Colin and obviously in shock of the whole situation.
So what happened? What's the next thing that you remember?
Steven not being at the scene, the shooter, and basically just taking care of Colin and then looking over and seeing Nick Pletke and Mikey taking care of Nick, and Nick was conscious at the time.
All right, did the police come?
The police did come.
Do you have any estimate of how long it took for the police to come?
Maybe 5 minutes.
So you said somebody else was helping you with Colin?
Yeah, Nick Prado and Abby, but from what I heard is you know, he did get shot right next to me.
Hearsay.
Okay.
Sustained.
So was there anybody that was near you and Colin that you didn't know or didn't recognize?
Maybe the other party of guys. They were still at the scene, but I couldn't tell you where they were.
Okay. Did you hear any comments from them?
Only afterwards when we were sitting on the sidewalk after the police came.
Okay. So was that one of the defendant's friends that you heard say something?
Yes.
What did he say?
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Sure.
That person that you heard say something, did you make any observations of his demeanor?
He was in total shock as well.
How long after, maybe this was after the police arrived?
Yes.
And where were you located?
I was on the sidewalk.
Where was he located?
On the sidewalk right next to me.
Were you, how were you situated? Were you sitting up?
We were both handcuffed, and we were sitting up on the sidewalk.
And this was, if you have a guess at how much time after the police had arrived?
Probably about 2 minutes.
All right, so within 6 or 7 minutes of the original shooting?
Yes.
Say would offer again, Judge?
I'm gonna sustain the objection as hearsay. You want to approach, I'll tell you why.
Come on. All right, Nick, I'm going to ask you to go back to just before the shooting. You said that Colin took a step forward. How
Yes.
would you describe that step?
It was just a light step forward, just in a questioning manner. He was just trying to see what was going on. There was a high-intensity light shining on him, so he was kind of disoriented.
So would you describe it as aggressive or lunging or anything like that?
No.
Prior to the gun, did you see anybody get hurt?
Not really. Besides the punch, that's the only thing I saw.
Do you remember what color shirt you were wearing that night, Nick?
I was wearing a white shirt.
May I approach you?
Yes.
Nick, I'm going to show you what has been marked as exhibit number 105. Take a look at that. Is that a photograph?
Yes.
Do you recognize the person depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
And who was that?
Myself.
All right. And when was that photograph taken, do you know?
When the first officer was asking me about what happened.
Okay. And what color shirt are you wearing?
White.
Is that the shirt that you were wearing during this entire event?
Yes.
Thank you. The state offers 105.
No objection.
105 is admitted.
Thank you. May I publish, Your Honor?
Sure.
Thank you. Nick, I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to the screen. Can you see that from where you are?
Yes.
Do you recognize that as the photograph that I just showed you?
Yes.
All right. And again, that's you
Yes.
in a white shirt.
Yes.
And you can kind of see your hands there, right?
Yes.
Blood on your hands?
That's correct.
What's that from?
From Colin's gunshot wound.
If I may now refer to exhibit number 316, Judge.
Go ahead.
Let's go to the courtyard. All right, Nick, do you see now what's projected on the screen?
Yes, that's the courtyard.
Okay, and as Mr. Barker kind of scrolls around, is that an accurate representation of what the courtyard looked like on the 8th and 9th of October 2015?
Yes.
Can you tell us which one of those units was yours?
We're about to get to it. It's the corner unit right there, number 5.
All right, so that's the door to your unit?
Yes.
And that's essentially the front door?
Yes.
All right, so it's your apartment building, the courtyard, another apartment building, and then Franklin, fair?
Yes.
Can you tell us which one of those apartments belong to Colin and Nick Peering?
It's there, the other corner apartment right there at the end.
At so the last one on the end?
Yes.
Oh, there might be a laser pointer on the desk in front of you if you need that to indicate.
It's right there.
All right. Now, let me know if you can't answer this question from this view, and we'll take another view. But when you came out of the apartment, you were kind coming behind Colin and Zach Volpo, who were goofing around?
Yes.
And where did they go to?
The middle of the courtyard by that table.
Where did you see the kind of initial verbal confrontation between 4 guys and some guys you knew?
In the middle of the courtyard.
All right, so can you see it in this view, or is
Yes.
it right where we're standing?
Basically.
Okay. And then where did it proceed from there?
We all ended up walking towards the parking lot right there, and then eventually to across the street of East Franklin.
All right, so we've taken a new view here. Do you recognize what we're looking at here?
Yes.
So is it fair to say that's the other side of that parking lot that you just referred to?
Yes, that's the parking lot.
All right. Where did you see the kind of 4-on-4-ish argument moving?
So down this little alley and then onto the driveway of Mountain View right there.
All right. What are we looking at from this view, Nick?
We're looking at the entrance of Mountain View.
All right, so you can kind of see that yellow cone there. Is that where we just came from?
Yes.
All right, so across the street is the Courtyard Apartments, and this is the kind of driveway up Mountain View?
That's correct.
All right, so if we can scroll to the right a little bit. Can you answer the question from this perspective where the kind of verbal confrontation continued?
Basically, my friends were right here, and the other party of guys were right there, and it was just a verbal skirmish at that point.
All right. You indicated that you saw a punch take place. Where was that?
Right there.
So it was, did somebody from one group approach the other group?
From my memory, it was Nick Prado advancing up upon the other group.
All right. Do you remember what color shirt Nick Prado was wearing?
No.
Where were you standing?
I was, you can't see it in this angle, but yeah, it was right, I was on the opposite side of this little pillar.
Okay.
At the
Who
gate.
was, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Were you finished?
Yeah,
Okay. Who was with you?
Zach Volpo.
All right. So we can't really go to that particular location, but from here, can you see where you first saw Stephen Jones emerging or coming through the parking lot?
Around over here.
All right. And where did he travel to, if you can see it from here?
I mean, that's probably where he was in his shooting stance. And then Nick and Colin were right here.
Okay, so you think those guys were in the parking lot?
Yes.
All right. So if we can move up there. All right. Do you recognize the kind of area that we're looking at now?
Yes.
All right. Now, you can, from this view, you can kind of see the sidewalk and the parking lot. Is that correct?
Correct.
Would you agree that there's a landscaped area in between?
Excuse me?
Would you agree that there's a landscaped area in between the
Yes.
side? Okay. And after you saw the, so where was it? Are you able to say here where Colin was, where Nick was, where the shooter was?
Yes.
Can you point
So-
that out, please?
Colin was over here on the right. Nick was right around here, and the shooter was back here.
Okay. Did you see the shooter move any closer than that?
No.
So that's roughly the area where you saw the shooting stance
That's correct.
in the command?
Yes.
And Nick, in this shot, are you able to indicate to the jury where it was that you were holding Colin?
From the best of my memory, around over here.
Okay. Nothing further at this time, Judge. Thank you.
Let's go ahead and take our final mid-afternoon recess, 10 minutes. Please remember the admonition.